What up, roomies? It's your boy the other day, and we're back within the house podcast. And tonight on Neighbors, we've got someone who doesn't just talk about getting hired, but he's built a method. He's known as the interview guru, helping people from all walks of life rewrite their resumes, master interviews, and actually land their dream jobs. Please welcome Daniel Smiley.
How you
From
doing, man?
from dissecting hiring managers' minds to teaching everyday people how to stand out in the world full of talent, Daniel's advice is practical, no fluff, and exactly what our audience needs. Tonight, we'll uncover the career secrets everyone should know, but no one teaches. Daniel Smiley, welcome to In the House podcast.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for inviting me on to the podcast.
Thank, Thanks for coming on, man. Like I was telling you off air, you're amazing. Your content's amazing, and you're doing a service to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
How was your day and all that before we actually get into the meat and bones and all that stuff?
Say that again. I'm gonna ask me.
I was like, how's been your day? Like, what's going on? Everything's good?
Yeah. It's been a very good day. Got an opportunity to do a ton of work today. Talk to a lot of people. Help a lot of people. So yeah, anytime I can do that, man, I am happy. The more people I can help, the more people I can connect with and help, the better it is. The better my day is. So that's what I do all day, and I love it.
Man, that's amazing. And yet again, we're really appreciative of you doing all this and providing the service to everybody. Before you became the interview guru, what were you doing and what made you realize people really needed this type of help and guidance?
Yeah, good question. So I've been in the talent acquisition and recruiting and hiring space for 35 years. I've been at every imaginable level, from an entry-level recruiter all the way to a C-suite executive managing a national staffing agency. And I even owned 2 agencies myself that did mid 7 figures. So I've been helping people to find jobs for a long time. And, I realized it's something that I've never wanted to get away from. It's something that I absolutely enjoy. It fulfills me on a daily basis. So I've been doing this for the better part of the past 35 years. Now, prior to this, I was in the military for 10 years, straight out of high school. And so I didn't go directly to college, even though I had a college scholarship to wrestle from the state of Florida. I went right into the military. And then when I got out of the military, about a year into my work, I started to get into the hiring of people and felt like it was something that I was called to do.
Okay. And how did it, from the military to finding yourself hiring people, how did that process go? How did you find yourself in that opportunity or in that lane?
Yeah. So, and this is a challenge for a lot of people who are veterans or people who are in high school trying to transition out. When I was in the U.S. military, I did a job that I could have done when I got out.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to continue to do that particular job. It was transportation, truck driving, the whole 9 yards. So I had to find something that I thought would work for me. And I, jumped into a company that did door-to-door sales, marketing and advertising sales. And so I excelled in that company pretty quickly. And after about a year being in that company, you get into where you can start interviewing and building a team and so on and so forth. So that's kind of how I got into it. Straight out of military, right to door-to-door sales, a year excelling in that company. And then the office manager took me under their wing. And that's when I started interviewing people and loved it.
That's dope. That's dope. So you could have kept all this knowledge to yourself, but instead you've built a whole system around helping others. What inspired that mission exactly?
Yeah. That's a very good question. Oftentimes on social media, and when people hear me talk, whether I'm doing a keto or not, I'll tell people this is my God call. It's something that's in me. I'm a firm believer in the pain that we've experienced in our lives. It's an indication of the purpose that we have been created by God to do in the earth. And so I grew up poor. And because of that, When I was a young teenager, about 13 or 14, I said I wanted to remove the burden from my mom's life.
Yeah.
And so I started looking for a job and finding ways to make money, not because I needed to pay any bills, but I didn't want her to have to worry about me. And so, I've spent the better part of my entire life doing that. So now why do I do it? Well, again, I think it's my call. The other thing is this: in the HR world, there are very qualified people who are interviewing for jobs and they're being turned down and they don't know why. Now, as a talent acquisition expert, I used to ask hiring managers and none of them will give me good reasons why. And I didn't like that. So I wanted to equip the people that I was recruiting. I wanted to equip them so that they didn't get the no's as often, because if they got a no from a hiring manager, they were coming back to me and say, well, what did I do wrong? And so I wanted to change that narrative. And so it caused me to build a system while I was in corporate America. And now that system is available to everybody all over the world.
That's very interesting because do you have like any particular like success stories or like failures that like inspired you or to show you like this was like your purpose or like your calling?
Yeah. So here's kind of how what caused me to build this system. Okay. So and it is built off of some failure. So I wanted to do a good job in my recruiting role. I think I was working for a call center at the time. And so I was submitting candidates consistently to the hiring manager based on what the hiring managers plural were asking me to submit.
Yeah.
And those hiring managers were rejecting these candidates and not telling me why. And I would ask them over and over again, you said you wanted this person. I sent this person to you, but you said no. Right. And so that kind of blew me away that they were telling me no. So finally, one guy, a director, pulled me to the side and said, Dan, let me explain to you what's going on. Right. I was young in my career at the time of recruiting. And he said, here's the deal. Yeah, you're sending good people to us. These people have the skill, but we just don't think they're a fit for the team here. And I was like, what do you mean by a fit for the team? Now, fit to me meant they can do the job. That's what fit means to me. And he was like, no, it's not that they can do the job. We know they can do the job. We just don't think they'll gel well in 2025 terms. They will vibe well with the team. We just think it's of a mismatch, oil and water. So I said, then how do you make that determination? He said, well, if I really like a person and I think that their personality is good and I think they're going to be a fit with him, those are the types of people that I want. And they said this: I would much rather have somebody I really, really like and want to work with versus that person having the best skills. So I'll take a person that I like over someone who has all of the skills. And that changed everything for me. So then I started to grab people who had the right skill, and I was looking for people who had the right likability, and I started to prep them based on both of those things. And 8 out of 10 people that I was submitting, they were hiring. And that's kind of how that failure over years and years, 6 years working for this company, is what actually propelled me to where I am today.
So like qualification versus liability, right? Likability. How much does each play? Like, would it be like a 50-50 thing, or does would like companies rather have a likable person that they need to train up a little bit more versus somebody who's like super qualified for the position?
That's very interesting. I would say if I had to put a number to it, it will be something like 70-30. 70% likability, 30% skill. Hiring managers believe they can train a person to do the job they want. But what they can't train is a person's character and, the fact that they like this person or want to work with this person. So as challenging as that sounds, it's probably like 70-30. Now, candidates lean in on their skill and ability to do a job, which is 30% of the decision making. And hiring managers are focused more on the likability, which is 70%, which is why there's so many mismatches when people go through interviews. They think they are sharing with the hiring managers that, hey, I can do the job, but the hiring manager is saying, yeah, you can do the job, but I just don't think you'd be a good fit for the team. So what I'm trying to get people to understand, the bullhorn that I am trying to speak through is you gotta understand that people care about your skill, experience, education, and background. That's cool, but what they care about way more is are you somebody that they like and would want to work with and hang around with and be around and vibe with. That's what they care about most.
All right, I get that. So, throughout all your experience, what would be some tips of like a person not only selling their qualifications but selling themselves as a likable person for that company? Like, let's say this is my dream position, right? How can I make sure that I could give the best impression to that hiring manager or hiring director?
That's a very good question. So, what is likability all about?
Yeah.
Speeches, or whenever I'm talking to groups, whether it's high schools, colleges, universities, or career development seminars, I try to focus in on this likability thing, and people try to understand, okay, what does it mean? When you say likability, what does that mean? And my simple explanation is you like me when I decide to do for you what you want me to do for you.
Okay.
A good example would be this, right? So you sent me a message and said, hey, I would like for you to be on a podcast.
Yeah.
I wasn't difficult. My time is very, very slim. I don't have a lot of extra time. Yeah. But I felt in my heart that this was a good opportunity for both you and I. And I told you yes and asked you a bunch of questions like, when do you need me to be there? When you want me to do it? How you want me to connect? Yeah, I made it easy for you. Would you agree with that?
You made it extremely easy.
Okay, good. So that is equal to likability, right? So in your mind, I'm not saying you said this, but in your mind, because I gave you what you wanted and did it the way that you wanted, you were like, man, I like this guy.
Yeah.
That's the way likability works.
Okay.
When we make a decision to understand that we are in a job interview and on a job to do the job that they want, and the exchange, the return that I get from it is they're going to pay me. When I understand that I'm doing what I need to do for them, I'm making them happy, I am making sure that they are satisfied with the work that I'm doing, that changes everything. So likability in an interview is expressed when we show the hiring managers that we are making this interview and our work with this company all about them and their success and not our own.
Okay. So basically so in layman's terms is basically when you at the interview making it about the team versus me.
That's right.
You're making it we versus me kind of thing, right?
That is a very, very good point. Yes, it's all about we and not me. But most candidates, when they walk into an interview, they make it about me and not we. And that is what causes them to be rejected. And they don't. And here's the thing: hiring managers are not going to tell them that. They're not going to tell them, hey, well, I rejected you because you didn't make it about me. You made it about yourself.
Yeah. No, but that's extremely enlightening because you would think that going into like a job interview, you're selling yourself. You know what I mean? But instead, you're selling yourself as part of this giant mechanisms that's working in cohesion with each other. So you're trying to make sure that you're the piece that fits.
Yeah. So I'm gonna yes, that is correct. I'm gonna offer a different perspective.
Okay.
So a lot of people, when they go into interviews, to your point, try to sell themselves to the hiring manager. Now, what do I mean when I say try to sell themselves? They're trying to prove to the hiring manager that they are good enough to do the job.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yes, that's what the hiring manager wants, but they want it from a different perspective. So instead of selling your services, it's it's easier to think about it for me to offer yourself to the hiring manager to use your skills to do whatever it is they want. Selling yourself is almost like it's an exchange. I'm selling myself to you so that you can see that I can do this job. And what my hope is that you're going to pay me to do it. But imagine this. Imagine you had all the money in the world you needed, and you did not have to worry about paying a bill for the rest of your life. But the only thing you had to do in exchange for that is you had to offer your services and work for someone else.
Yeah.
Right? Your perspective would be different. It would be more service based, right? You will be figuring out ways to provide the highest level and best service to the person because money was not an issue. That's the perspective that hiring managers want people to have. I am here to serve the needs of this company and team. I'm not concerned about what I'm going to get from it. You should be, but the attitude has to be, I'm not concerned with what I'm going to get from it. But we know if I do what I'm supposed to do, they're going to pay me for it. So that's the exchange. And most people don't look at it from that perspective.
No, it's very enlightening because the way most people think of an interview, including myself, is that I have to kind of like advocate for myself and like make myself shine amongst the sea of candidates in order to like, land this position. But yet again, it's not about me, it's about we. And
yes,
that perspective right there changes the entire game of it in all aspects. Because it's not about what skills I have, it's like what can I offer in order to, improve your organization and the mission that you're doing. So that mind shift is extremely enlightening. I will say that.
I was talking to a young man, a student, an 11th grader at a high school I was speaking at a couple of nights ago. And so he was saying to me, hey, I have this lawn care service, and I want to expand it. And I was like, okay, so tell me, what problem does your lawn service solve for its customers? Right?
Yeah.
And he said, well, we take care of their lawn. And I said, some people want you to take care of their lawn because they don't know how to do it. Some people know how to do it, but they just don't have the time to do it. So they hire you to save them time. Okay. Yeah. So some people are going to hire you for I told him some people are going to hire you for your expertise. Some people are going to hire you to save time. And you have to know the difference between the two. They're going to pay you to solve a problem in their life, but you have to know the problem they want you to solve if you want them to pay you. Yeah. You're there to do the work for them. It's not about you and how good you can trim their lawn. They don't care about that. What they care about is, can you help save me time, and can you do my yard better than I can do it because I suck at it, right? Yeah. That's what hiring managers are saying. Man, I don't have time. Like if it's a warehouse worker, they'll say, I don't have time to load and unload all of these trucks. I need somebody to help me. Or they will say, I don't know how to best load and unload these trucks. So I need somebody who's an expert at doing it. And when we look at it from that perspective, it's a game changer. We have to understand what they want and give to them what they want. And if we do it that way, everything changes.
No, you're absolutely correct. And yet again, going back to the initial point, when you put it like that, the mindset shifts a lot. Because now you're going in there with the perspective of, hey, this is what I can offer. Versus, look at me, I'm the best person for the job.
Correct. That's exactly correct.
All right. I know you created something called the RSIO system,
Yeah.
resume search, interview, and offer. Can you walk us through what each of those parts mean and how it connects?
Yeah. So before I share that with you, the hire process from the
Yeah.
time you start looking for a job until the time you actually get hired for a job has four major components that candidates have to understand and master if they want to do well. Okay. And most candidates have no idea about what this system looks like or what each component looks like. And I'm not trying to compare myself to anybody else, but even when you look on the internet and people are talking about careers and they're giving career help, most people may talk about one or two things, maybe resume and interview, but they don't know the entire process, right?
Yeah.
So a person can have a great resume, but they stink at interviewing. That's going to stop them. Let's say they want a job, but they have a horrible resume. That's going to stop them. Let's say they have a great resume and they interview well, but they are not applying to the right jobs. So when it comes to the offer time, they feel like they're being lowballed. That's a mismatch. The process stops there. So because I am on the human resource and talent acquisition side and I carry a candidate all the way through the process, I understand each one of those phases. So from a talent acquisition perspective, when I post a position online, I am looking to get people's resumes for a job. So I know exactly what hiring managers are looking for, and I know what me and my team are looking for when we are looking at resumes. So resume, the R in the RSI system stands for resumes. Well, what's important about a resume? Your resume must show hiring managers what they want to see, not what you want to show them.
Yeah.
That's important. And when people don't understand that that's really what this is all about, showing hiring managers what they want to see, not necessarily what you want to show them, it changes everything. Because they may not want to see what you're trying to show them. They don't care anything about it, right? Just like that lawn guy.
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of lawnmower you have. I just want my grass cut, right? I just want my lawn service. So R stands for resume. Most people don't know what hiring managers want to see. They're just kind of putting some stuff on the paper that they think is impressive about them, and it really just falls to the ground. So that's the R in RSO. S stands for search. How do you search for jobs? And the big issue here is not just how you search, but what are you looking at when you job opening? Is it really a job opening? Is it really open? Is it closed? Are we trying to just recruit to get candidates in the database? Is it an evergreen position that stays open all the time? Like most candidates have no idea because in our minds, we have a need. I need a job so that I can take care of me and my family.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go and see what is advertised out there so that I can apply to the job. But when they click apply to that job, they don't know what happens once they press apply. They don't understand what's going on the back end. So because I am on the back end, I'm the catcher. I'm the guy that looks at every resume that comes in. I know what the status is when they get a response. If you apply to a job and you get an immediate response back that says we decided to go with another candidate, by immediately I mean within an hour. Nobody looked at your resume. Nobody looked at your application. That position is closed, and we have set an auto reply in the applicant tracking system to say that, okay? So most people don't understand that. They have no idea. They don't know where to search. They don't understand, wait a minute, I'm on LinkedIn or I'm on ZipRecruiter. This job is here. It must be open. They don't know. They don't even have an idea about how that job got there. Well, they don't know that. ZipRecruiter, LinkedIn, and Indeed.com scrape our job sites if we have an account with them, and they post the positions up there without our permission. Really? So that position may be open, it may not be open. It just depends, but most people don't know. So they're applying to jobs, not getting responses, and they think something's wrong with them, and it may not be anything wrong with them. So that's the S in how to search for jobs, the S in the RSI system. Interviews or interviews and interviewing in a way that the hiring manager hears what they want to hear. And it starts with you, me, us, our understanding the question that we're being asked. Like if a hiring manager says, tell me about yourself, most candidates hear, this person wants to know all about me.
Yeah.
Not the question they're asking, but candidates don't know that. So they use that as an opportunity to start talking about everything in their personal life. And hiring managers are turned off by that because that's not the question they're asking. It will be something like this. Is it cold outside? Somebody asks you, hey, is it cold outside? Because they're trying to think about whether or not they need to wear a coat. And you say, the sky is blue. Right.
Yeah. There's no connect there. Yeah.
Why are you telling me this? Now, candidates will say, well, if you wanted me to answer something else, then you should have asked me something else. No, but the hiring managers don't understand that. When they say, tell me about yourself, they're saying, if I hire you, what kind of character am I going to be getting in you as a person to join this team? Now, that's a different question, but hiring managers don't know to ask the question in that way. So interviewing is an art. You got to understand the questions that are being asked, the true motivation behind the questions being asked, so you can give a proper answer. And then the offer, or O in the RSI system, is offer. Most people don't know that there's about $2,000 to $10,000 in every offer. And if you just ask one question when you get a written offer, you can get an increase on that offer almost 95% of the time, right? Most people don't know that. They just are programmed to take whatever it is, their offer, even if it's less or more than they've ever made in their life. So that's what the RSI system, I wanted to give people a full on understanding from top to bottom of how to actually, from your I need a job all the way to I am now working on a job. I wanted to give them a full understanding and a system they can walk through and know and understand that works. That's kind of why I created the system.
So, all right. So walk us through step by step. What do like most people get wrong in each step? Like in the first step, like you were mentioning that Indeed and ZipRecruiter like scrapes like career websites and just posts them up without companies' positions.
Yeah.
So what would be like the best places for people to look, or like what do most people get wrong in each step? Because I know with resumes, a lot of people are horrible at writing their resumes.
Yeah.
And job searches, yet again, people don't know where they're looking. So like, what's like the mistakes that people are making in each step of that?
Man, that's a great question. So let's talk about some of the most common mistakes people make. And I'm just going to give you a 10,000 foot view so we can kind of get through this. So in the resume phase, most people get a couple of things wrong. Number one is their resume is not positioned to show that they are the solution to someone's problem. I tell people your resume really should show your elevator pitch. Now, what do I mean? The resume should show this immediately: what you do, how long you've done it, and how good you are at doing it. And that third piece is absolutely critical. That's quantifiable evidence of your ability to have solved the problem for someone else in the past. Okay. Now, most people think a resume is just on a piece of paper. I was explaining this to the high school students the other day. Your resume can also be your video proof, your social proof, how many people you have following you, your YouTube videos, whatever that looks like, right? A resume is the proof of your ability to provide value to someone else with your skill, ability, education, and background. And most people get that wrong. So what most people are doing is showing hiring managers what they want them to see and not showing hiring managers what they want to see, right? So that's where we get it wrong. We are peacocking and showing people all of the things that we think are important and that's not important to hiring managers. So that's what people get wrong with resumes. When it comes to job searches, the way most people get it wrong is, number one, they are not applying to enough jobs because of the fact that if a job has been posted for more than 30 days, and I would even say if the job has been open for 21 days or more,
Yeah.
the job is probably almost filled or already filled, because the normal hire process is about 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
So, one, they're not applying to enough jobs. What do you mean, Dan? I talked to a guy today, asked him how many jobs he was applying to, and he said about 2 to 3 per week. I told him, honestly, I said, man, it's going to take you about 3 years to find a job. Applying to 2 to 3 jobs per week doesn't work, because here is what the numbers look like. For every 10 jobs you apply to, 5 of them have already been filled or they're no longer available. So now you're down to 5 jobs. Okay. Out of those 5 jobs, you're going to get an automatic reply from a recruiter that you're not a match from 3 of them. Okay. So now that's 8 jobs gone that you've applied to. Now you're down to 2. Out of those 2 positions, you're probably going to get a reply from a recruiter asking you for an interview or a hiring manager. And the other job will take a little bit longer for somebody to reach out to you. So for every 10 jobs you apply to, you're going to get about 1 positive response within 10 days. Okay. So think about, if this guy is applying to 2 jobs per week, it's going to take him 5 weeks, almost a month and a half, before anybody reaches out to him.
That's insane. So you were mentioning the Indeed and ZipRecruiter, right? Especially with those, because those are like the those are the platforms most people use to search for jobs. What should people be looking on, like Indeed and ZipRecruiter in particular? Like, should they be looking how long the job's been available?
Yes.
Or what particular keys should people be looking for in that case?
First thing that we should do is, when we go on to Indeed, ZipRecruiter, or even LinkedIn, we want to type in a keyword associated with a job title for the work that we want to do. That's first. The second thing we should do is filter that search by when the job was posted. Okay. If you filter it by it's been posted within the last 24 hours, you're going to get too few jobs. So I tell people, filter it by 30 days. Okay. So any jobs that have been posted in the last 30 days, you should filter it by that. Then you need to filter it by your state, because if you're looking for something that's remote or hybrid, that's an opportunity. And then you can filter it by your city. Most job boards are going to give a 25 to 50 mile radius from the city center, not from your house.
Yeah.
So if you're in Charlotte, North Carolina, and you live in the suburbs in Charlotte, North Carolina, you do a search in Charlotte, North Carolina, it's going to do a search based on the center of that city. That's why you go state first, then you go city. And then that's what you need to make sure you're filtering about. When you do that, that's going to give you a bunch of different jobs that you can apply to. Now, I'm going to tell you another secret that allows you to even get more granular to make sure that you're finding positions that are probably even more immediately open. And that is to then filter by positions that are easy apply on LinkedIn, one click apply, or so it's easy apply, one click apply. Those easy applies on any one of the job boards. Now, why do I say that? Because as a recruiter, whenever I am trying to get the most people the fastest, I have them do a quick application. All I want is your name, your phone number, email address, and you can send me up there. I don't care what it looks like, because I'm trying to get people in the database that I can go through. So filter by date, state, city, and easy apply or one click apply. And that's going to be the best way for you to start your search.
Okay. Super enlightening because I've been doing my job search all completely wrong. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm completely honest with you on that. From your experience, will you see the difference between job hunting today versus like 5 years ago?
Yeah, here's something that's funny. Actually, job hunting from the candidate's perspective hasn't changed much.
Okay.
In 25 or 30 years. So now what do I mean? Candidates are still looking at searching for jobs from their perspective. In other words, they're searching it from the perspective of this is what I want versus what our hiring managers look for that I have. Okay. So you have to look at it from that perspective because what you're trying to do is offer yourself, your skill, ability, education, and background as a service to someone else. So you have to figure out what they want, how they position what it is they are trying to pay for. A good example would be this. Let's go back to the lawn care example.
Yeah.
If he wanted to get customers and customers wanted to find him and he said, I want people to find me. So I'm going to put my advertisement or the name of my business in this listing as, big time kid service solution.
Yeah.
Even though, right. So nobody knows like that. Oh yes, that's a good name. You want it, but nobody knows what you do, right? So if he had changed it to big time kid best lawn services in X city and people start searching for lawn services, they're going to find him and then potentially give him a call. The problem that candidates have with search is they're trying to search based on what it is they want to get, not what someone is trying to give. So in my case, if I wanted to look for a job, some people call my job talent acquisition. Some people call it HR business partner. Some people call it recruiting, staffing specialist, all kinds of titles for what it is I do. So I have to understand how to search for a job based on how someone advertises it, not necessarily how I want people to show up for me. I'm doing it that way.
Okay. So it's not just about, let's say that you're going off your example, talent acquisition. You have to search up all the keywords and all the synonyms that go along with it. Because of the simple fact that you could be a lead sales representative, but it could also be, head of sales talent or whatever it may be. You know what I mean?
Custom client services. It could be a lot of different things for the same work, but it's a different title. And candidates get pigeonholed because my previous job title was X. So they think every job that they're looking for is going to be X. That's not the case. So we have to start understanding, to your point, that we need to use the keyword, the synonym, the partner word, everything that's centered around. Whenever I train people when I'm coaching them and we're doing job search, I say you need to start very broad, right? If you are an account manager, just put account in or manager in, and then we can filter out other things that give us account managers in an industry or a space. But you got to be very broad so that you can get the most results back, and then you can narrow it down. But most people don't do that.
So go from the macro to the micro.
That's right.
Okay. I get that. So now that we're in 2025, with remote work, AI screening, and automation, what new skills or habits should job seekers be learning right now?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So, I want to work backwards here. The same kinds of problems that existed pre-remote pre-AI, some of those same problems still exist. Okay. So, hiring managers are still going to be hunting for people to do certain kinds of jobs. But with AI and with, remote work, the kinds of things that people need to really, really try to understand and do well is, things that are around that, right? So it could be, tech support supporting AI.
Yeah.
That's something that's good to do. Anything that's customer service or remote work, they have to be able to build out some sort of space in their home in order to support remote kind of work. They have to. The other skill that I think is important when we talk about remote or hybrid work is we have to, and it's really not even a skill. We have to show people that we are mature enough to be off site,
Yeah.
and still get the job done.
Done.
So that is very challenging to do if you don't know how to position yourself as a solution to meet the need of someone else's life. Because when people are paying you to do a job, whether you are on site or remote, they're expecting to get some sort of an outcome or result. And so people have to develop the ability to be able to do that.
Okay. Now that we're on the topic of AI, right? Do you think people should be using AI to like help them write their resumes or even help them during the interview? Because I've heard stories like on Reddit and like seen little clips of like people using like Chat GPT while they're on an interview to like give them like a little boost in their answer.
Yeah, man, this is a very good question. So I want to, and man, I want to make sure I'm being very strategic and careful with how I say this, but I'm going to say it in a very straightforward manner. AI tools like Chat GPT are very good, okay?
Yeah.
But they are limited to the questions you ask it, right? So if I ask Chat GPT, Siri, or Google or whatever a question, it is going to spit out to me an answer based on the question I asked it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a trick, right, that your audience and others can use. When you say to Chat GPT, write a resume, right?
Yeah.
It's important to say, write a resume that attracts the attention of hiring managers and recruiters, that shows quantifiable evidence of my ability to solve a problem. Put that on my resume in, a summary of accomplishments, the areas of expertise, add a captivating headline, and give 5 bullets per job that show the quantifiable evidence of my ability to do well. So the point I'm trying to make is you have to know how to communicate correctly to Chat GPT and all of the AI tools for it to get back to you, give back to you what it is you want. So this is another, again, a big challenge that people are having. They have the tool, but having the tool is not enough. You have to know what to ask it, what prompt to give it, so that it spits back out to you the right information. If you ask
Sorry about that.
That's right. If you ask,
give me 1 second, Daniel.
Okay.
Oh. Ooh. Damn. Sorry about that. My dog almost tipped over one of the lights.
I got it.
Yeah,
so
man. You were saying?
If you ask Chat GPT, what is the best answer to the interview question, tell me about yourself, it's going to give you a pretty straightforward, common question based off of internet search. And it's going to give you the answer, not based on the hiring managers asking the question, meaning to ask the question in a different way. It's going to give you a straightforward answer. The question is that really the question the hiring manager is asking? So my point is you got to be careful with how you use ChatGPT and thinking that it's going to give you all of the correct answers, because sometimes that is correct, sometimes that's not. You got to be able to give it the right prompts.
Yeah, definitely. And do you think not on that topic, do you think people should tailor made their resume per position that they're applying for? Like,
So
should everybody like revamp their resume per the position they're applying for, or should they have like one master general resume?
yeah, so the latter, right? So from a recruiting perspective, let me just explain it from a recruiting and hire manager perspective. So tailoring your resume to each position is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Number one. So you don't want to do that. So there are some things that you do or can be done in 50 different positions, right? So what I advocate for and what I try to tell people is you want to have one resume that shows all of who you are as a professional, and hiring managers and recruiters know how to look at that resume to pick out the things that are most important to them. So I tell people, do not have a resume that is just tailored to one specific job or another, because what happens if you do that, you spend your time doing that, and one, you never get an interview, or number two, you get an interview and nobody hires you, you just wasted your time. So you want to have one general resume that shows all of your skills, ability, education, and background, and that's the best way to proceed.
All right, cool. Do you think platforms like, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, those kind of platforms also help with your resume as well, like applying depending on the position that you're, applying for? Like your socials, like the social aspect, would that enhance your chances of like getting hired or even getting into the door for an interview?
I'll tell you something that's probably opposite of what most people think. Your social accounts hurt your professional career more than they help it, depending on what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
What do I mean? If you are being courted for a job and you have, let's just hypothetically say, an opposing political position video on your Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, or your something on X or Threads, and the person you are trying to be hired by sees that and it's opposite of what they think, they're probably not gonna offer you the job. I personally have been removed from jobs because of how large my social network is.
Really?
Yep.
Well, I wouldn't think that, because I would think a company would want somebody as yourself who has a vast network to represent them and be in the eye of the people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the problem most companies have with me is they think that I am giving candidates that they want to hire the answer to the test before they are given the test, and they don't like that. So like, I was not active on LinkedIn for a long time because I didn't want the companies that I was working for to see me there and see the kind of content that I share. And once they saw it on other platforms, I mean, I've been removed from 3 jobs because people think that I'm giving the answers to the test, and which I'm good with. I'm okay. I don't have a problem with finding work because of my skill set. Like I can hire tons of people and build out, teams and so on and so forth. So I don't have an issue with that, but I have experienced that personally and know that others have experienced it. And from an HR perspective, I know the conversations that we have behind closed doors. So it can be an issue. So it's 50-50. If you have a good social media presence, one person asked me before, how do I use LinkedIn to build credibility in my skill? And this is what I said to them. The way you use LinkedIn is you show your expertise by videos and posts on your LinkedIn, and that will help to boost your ability to get hired for jobs. So that's a great place to do it, but the other places are not necessarily as good.
Yeah, I feel it. I get that. Like Instagram wouldn't be like the best place because it's more of a personal
Yeah,
versus a professional.
right.
Except if like you're a creative person that's
Yeah,
trying to reach a massive amount of people.
right.
So with that being said, if somebody hasn't like been on a job hunt for years, right? Let's say somebody recently got laid off or decided to have a career change and they haven't updated their resume in years. What would be like some of the first key steps that person should take in order to get back out there?
Yeah. So first thing is before they start to put any sort of a resume together, they need to try to understand really what the resume is all about from the perspective of hiring managers. What do people want to see about me when I introduce myself to them? Now
Yeah.
that's a little tricky because that could, change from person to person, but there are some common things. And those common things are the three things that I tell people that build out an elevator pitch. When a person is building a resume out, they need to it needs to speak to what they do. That's a job title in terms of work, right? What do I do? The next thing they want to make sure they're very clear about on their resume is how long they've done it in terms of, I don't care if it was it's been a year, 6 months, 10 years, it doesn't matter. You have to make sure that you're listing the years experience you have. And the reason why you want to do that is because that shows the level of your expertise. And then finally, the third thing they need to do when they're putting their resume together is they need to make sure that they're providing quantifiable evidence of their ability to solve a problem for someone else, because that evidence is an indication to the incoming hiring manager that you can do the same thing for them.
Okay. Okay. I want to backtrack just a couple of minutes real quick.
Mhm.
Um. So damn. I'm thinking I forgot the question. No, I didn't. So why would companies not want you to like help people out? In the way you do, and remove you from that. Like, wouldn't what you're doing benefit them in the long run? Because now, let's say that they have this great candidate, right? That's amazing for the position, but he might be lacking in the interview department. And then he uses like your method to like ace the interview. But wouldn't that be more of a benefit for the company versus it being a detriment?
Yeah, you
I'm
would.
just curious about that.
Yeah, you would think that's the case, but it's not. Most hiring managers, um, they don't they don't want people to know how to. I'm just going to say it in a pretty straightforward kind of
Yeah.
way. I'll say it this way. This is probably a more accurate way to say it, and I don't mind sharing it. They feel like they're being manipulated.
Mm.
I'm giving you the answer to the question. They don't know any other questions to ask because these are the same questions that have been asked since I've been doing it. So they feel like, oh, this person is tricking me or manipulating me, or this is too good to be true. This person is not going to be, it's just, they just don't like that.
Okay.
So now, what is it rooted in? They don't like not being in control. I'm trying to make sure that candidates are in control. I'm trying to make sure that candidates can control their own career and have choices and not worry about whether this hiring manager says no or not because they got 5 other jobs lined up who want to hire them right now. I'm trying to put the control in the hand of the candidate, and hiring managers want to maintain control themselves. And they don't like when I am giving out the answers to the test. They don't like
That,
it.
that's whack. Because you would think that with the service that you're providing, that they would find more qualified candidates. They would find like this top brass talent. You know what I mean? And just because a person may not be super doing interviews or you know not necessarily selling themselves, but showing what they can offer, and your services helps bring that out of a person, you would think that they would be more appreciative of that. Like, you know, on our, like, you know, this is somebody from the other side saying this, right? Like, I'm appreciative of the service because you're helping me, you know, level up my game when it comes to, you know, making sure I could forward my career.
Yeah.
So I would think on the other side, you know, the company would be also appreciative because now it's like, cool, now you have these people coming in that know how to offer themselves and their services better and communicate that more transparently.
Yeah, you know, again, man, this is, you know, hiring managers just they don't want that. They don't want you
Man,
to know. They don't want you to know the answers to the questions that they're going to give. They just don't. They feel, I'm telling you, they feel like they are being manipulated. I've worked with hiring managers at every level. Let me tell you this real quick story.
all right.
So one of the jobs that I worked with, companies that I worked for a few years ago, I was head of talent acquisition for one of the largest pediatric urgent care clinic companies in the state of Texas. And the CEO didn't trust the director of HR so much that she never interviewed me. He interviewed me. Okay. And he is the one that made the hiring decision. So on my call, so he had the HR generalist schedule an interview with him and the two area vice presidents that I would be supporting. He did
Yeah.
not have me interview with the director. But because I know the game, so he said to me on the call, hey, you know, this is what we're looking for and so on and so forth. And I said to him, John, do you mind if I ask you a real quick question? I normally don't ask a lot of questions in interviews, but he said, yeah. I said, what is your HR department or your talent acquisition department currently telling you is the problem? And he told me, and
Yeah.
I said, John, I've heard that many, many times. Would you mind if I take 15 seconds to take a look at something to tell you how many candidates are available? Because what he told me was they said it's not enough people out there to hire with this skill set. But
Yeah.
I'll take a look. And so I took a look and I said, okay, in this area where you're trying to hire for, I just did a quick search for candidates with this skill set, and it's 35,000 people. He says, I said, yeah, they're telling you there's no one available. I'm showing 35,000 people. The issue that you are having inside of the
Yeah.
organization as the CEO is the people that you currently have working have no how to get to the 35,000 people that I just showed you. That's a cheat code. I just cheated on the test. I told
Yeah.
him the answer to the problem that he was looking for, even though he didn't ask me the question.
That's that's amazing.
So think about this.
Yeah.
I am giving this same game to candidates. And now they hired me. I got the job.
Yeah.
And they very 6 figures a year. So I'm giving the same game to people so they can. Now, you would think that people appreciate it, but if John knew what I knew,
Yeah.
and that is not only did I create the test, I created the answer to the test, and I knew where to find the answers to the test in a very short amount of time. And I gave you exactly what you wanted, even though you didn't communicate that that's what you wanted, but I knew that's what you wanted
You wanted.
based on just a simple question of what are they telling you is the problem. So in a sense, real talk, you know, I manipulated John by asking a simple question. I maneuvered John to put myself in control by asking him a simple question. And that was really, hey, John, what are they telling you the problem is? That's essentially what I asked him. He told me, and I said, what if I told you I could find a solution?
Yeah,
And
but
in 15 seconds.
but even though it was a little bit of manipulation, you still solved the problem that he was having. So when you weigh it out, weigh it out in the long run, you know, you got the job, and I'm 100% sure you solved this problem. So it's like, all right, cool. You knew the answers to the test, and you wrote the test basically. you know, you knew the answers, but at the end of the day, John would be more appreciative that you knew the answers already because you solved this great problem that he had and this disconnect that he had with his director of HR.
Now the cool thing is yes, I solved the problem. In other words, they have been fighting for 15 years. It took me less than 6 months to solve, right? Yes, he got what he was hoping to get from someone with my skill set. But if he knew how I got it, it would have probably made him feel some kind of way. Ironically, that company laid me off because I outworked myself. I did way better than they thought. So 2 years after being in that position, they laid me off with a good severance.
I've been in that position.
So hiring managers like being in control. They don't like to feel like you, even though they need you, to do what they need to get done, they don't like to feel like you are in control. They want to somehow feel like they're in control.
No, I get that. Okay. What's been the most rewarding part of helping people's careers?
Watching people get what I tell them they're going to get if they follow the process, and watching their lives change and them getting, paid what they want, doing the job they want, being able to take care of their families. That is the most rewarding thing for me. My only goal is to help people to change their lives through getting the job they want, making the money they want, so they can take care of themselves and their family. That's my number one goal. And so I have helped thousands of people be able to do that as a coach, and we've helped hundreds of thousands of people do that through our social content. So that's the most rewarding thing. Watching people's lives changed for the better because they don't have the stress of having a job that's underpaying and it's something that they don't like. It's something that they enjoy, and they're making good money, and their lives have been changed. Real quick story. I have a fast track program where I walk side by side with clients on a monthly basis. It's a 30-day program where I help people to find job screening. We do the resume, we do everything, right? I call it the fast track program. And my promise to them, if they do everything that I tell them, they're going to find a job they want, making the money they want in 30 days or less. So I have this person who we did our fast track meeting last night. She's a nurse practitioner, a brand new nurse practitioner. She's an RN who just became an MP, a nurse practitioner. And she signed up for the fast track program probably 3 months ago, but she couldn't really get started with it until October 1st. Okay. I think it was October 1st, yeah. So she said to me, I am so nervous. I've never done, the nurse practitioner job. And every door I try to knock on, people are saying you don't have, any experience as a nurse practitioner. Long story short, 4 weeks into this plan, what's going on, this lady said, hey, there's a company I want to work for. I told her how to get into that company. She got into the company. She got an offer for that company, making $170,000 as a nurse practitioner. She's never, ever worked as a nurse practitioner before. That is what it's all about for me. And she said to me last night, I am so thankful to you because before meeting you, I didn't know how to interview. I didn't know how to do my resume. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know any of these things. And I was just spinning my wheel all this time thinking that I'm never going to get a chance to work as a nurse practitioner. And now she has life-changing salary doing the work that she wants to do. That's what this is all about for me.
Daniel, and this is what I initially meant in the beginning of everything. You're helping these people. You're revolutionizing these people's lives, and I feel that that's the most amazing thing that anybody could do. Even if you're just going one person at a time, or a course, or a class, you're helping people. Because I'm horrible at interviews. I'm gonna be quite honest. I am horrible. I get nervous. I get the sweats, all that. So I'm horrible at that. But with the content that I've absorbed from you, it helps build confidence. It helps, put a little bit more of a battery in a person's back when they're, going through the process of trying to find that dream job. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you're amazing at it. You really are. you've seen people go from hopelessness to like to hired, right? What's like the biggest mindset shift those people, all those stories like share in common?
Yeah. So one of the things that I try to instill in everyone that I talk to is you have what it takes to, one, get the job you want, live the life that you want. That's number one. You got to understand that the problem that you think is the problem, is not a problem at all. You are the answer to someone's question, the solution to someone's problem. So that's the thing I try to get everybody to understand. You have this skill, this ability, this background, this education, and I'm going to tell you who can use it. And so now all we got to do is connect the two, because if we can connect the two and then you can share with them how you can be the solution to their problem, they are going to be happy. You are going to be happy. And that changes everybody's world. So the biggest mindset shift is for me to help people understand you are the bomb.com. You are him. You are her. You are that person.
So you gotta have that confidence and go in there with it.
That's right.
All right. When you look ahead, how do you see the future of work changing, and how can people start preparing for it now?
You know, man, that's a great question. And I'll be honest with you and tell you that when we say the future of work, I want to try to go back to when I first started all of this. And I'll be honest with you and tell you, man, the person who can put themselves in a position to show people that they are the answer to their question, whether they have a degree or not, whether they have something in their background or not, whether they are new to the market or not, the person who has the ability to show people that they are the solution to their problem, they are going to win, because the work is still going to be the work. It's still going to be the same, right? We just have to, people just have to understand how to effectively position themselves as the solution to other people's problems. And the better they're able to do that, the more opportunities will come their way. And that's kind of I just think that's kind of what we need to be thinking about and how people need to approach it.
I feel you. And last but not least, what are your final thoughts, or do you have any last advice for the listeners out there?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I really enjoyed it. I although I am a master interviewer, I like being interviewed. I like when people ask thoughtful questions. That's why my response to you was, that's a very good question. Most people are not good at it. So one, you're very good at this. Now I'm gonna leave you with a little bit of encouragement before I go into my last thoughts as well. You had no idea that someone with my social following would say yes to you. Okay. But the bottom line is, you know, if you ask enough people, someone will say yes, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is a great opportunity for you. It's a great opportunity for me to be able to share content with both your audience and my audience and following. So the final thought is, I want people to understand that they are not the problem, right? That they're applying to jobs and people are not responding back to them and they feel like they're being ghosted. They are really not the problem. The problem is the process. And if they can understand the process, they can navigate it in a way that helps them to get to a place where they want to be. So stay encouraged, because you are the solution to somebody's problem. You are the answer to someone's question. You have the skill, experience, education, and background to do the job and live the life that you want from now and for as long as you want to. So stay encouraged, stay in the fight.
Daniel, thank you. I appreciate you, my brother. This has been one of the most educational podcasts I've actually ever conducted, and I thank you for that. And, you know, whatever you need from us in the house, anytime you want to come on, you're more than welcome. Thank you. And roomies, make sure to check out Daniel Smiley's content. We will be putting all the links down below. So make sure if you're looking for a new job or want to career change, you hit him up. He does free resume reviews. Am I correct on that?
Yes, that is correct.
He does free resume reviews. He helps people out. He has courses. Utilize if you're weak in any of those areas, utilize Daniel's talents. Check out his content, because once you do, you will level up. And I really do that, Marumis. So peace out.
All right. Thank you, man. Take care.
Thank you, my brother. I really appreciate you, man.